Hi YouTube, welcome back to our MTG 101 series.
Hi, this is Alex.
I'm Paul.
If I seem unenthused, it's because this is our fourth take on this video.
Yeah, we've been having trouble with the stack, as is the case of every new Magic
Like I've
the
said in
Gathering
every
player.
take, though, thank God for the stack, because before the stack, it was much more convoluted.
Well, let's get to it. Anyways, anytime that you play a creature, or even when you play land,
You
right?
can play... No, it's whenever you play spell.
No, whenever you play a spell, you create a stack. And stuff only happens when the stack is resolved. But there's things you can do to change the stack, prevent stuff on the stack from happening.
I'll say this, if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, it's like chaining, basically.
Yeah.
If you haven't, bear with us, we'll try to explain it.
But think of it, a long stack of cards that change the effects of the cards behind them, and in a big, long chain of disgustingness.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
But
Scenario number one.
Scenario number one. I decide I'm going to play a Lennon Snarecaster. Assuming I have one white and one colorless, I play Lennon Snarecaster. When he enters the battlefield, you may tap target creature. So I play him. I ask my opponent, response?
It's fine.
It's fine. He enters, the stack is resolved, and his ability is triggered.
Okay.
Okay.
Scenario number two.
I say, I'm going to play Lennon Snarecaster. I put him on the stack. I cast him.
He goes on the stack.
My opponent then says...
I respond with Essence Scatter, which lets me...
counter target creature spell. So, how I want you to look
Countering means it doesn't happen.
Countering means it doesn't happen. But how I want you to look at this is, since Lennon Snarecaster was played first, it's on the bottom of the stack. The next thing that was played, Essence Scatter, goes on top of it. So it's further up on the stack. It's closer to you, so it happens
Basically, yeah, exactly. Things happen in reverse order of when they're played.
Right. So, Essence Scatter, which is above Lennon Snarecaster on the stack, says counter target creature spell. Countering Lennon Snarecaster. So that happens first. So Lennon never happens.
Yep.
They go away. Now we're going to get a little complicated.
Scenario number three.
Countering a counter. Say I have Lennon Snarecaster. I say I cast Lennon Snarecaster. I pay the mana. He goes on the stack. My opponent responds with...
I counter with Essence Scatter.
Essence Scatter. Curses.
Essence Scatter is on the stack.
Essence Scatter is on the stack. Now I have to waste mana playing Negate. Counter target non-creature spell. Essence Scatter is an instant, not a creature spell, so it works. So now we have a new stack. Negate. Counter target non-creature spell. That counters counter target creature spell. So these essentially dissipate, leaving Lennon Snarecaster as the resolution of the stack. So it enters.
And its effect happens.
And its effect happens, that gets tapped.
Scenario number four. Exciting.
I play Lennon Snarecaster, or I cast him. He goes on the stack.
I cast Essence Scatter to counter him.
I say, no, you nasty devil. Negate!
And I say, fuck you, Paul, do you have 2 mana open?
With Spell Pierce. Now, what does our stack look like?
Spell Pierce, just so you know, it's counter target non-creature spell, unless its controller pays 2. Since he controls Negate, he must pay 2, or else it's countered. Let's assume he doesn't have 2.
If I don't have 2, then this spell counters this spell, which counters this spell.
No.
Or
this spell
right.
counters Negate, which means it does not counter Essence Scatter, which means Essence Scatter happens, which means Lennon Snarecaster is countered.
So, the resolution of the stack is nothing. You can also think of the stack as a bunch of little stacks, and then you figure out which ones survive. Like a survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But this can get into how some abilities, like tapped abilities, mana abilities, and abilities like this work.
This is an activated ability. We're going to talk about abilities later. Yeah.
But this type of ability, we have to talk about it in this video because you can use it multiple times on a stack. Now here, we have a scenario where I have 2 creatures. My opponent has 1 creature. Now, say I've just, on my turn, I play Lennon Snarecaster.
That taps.
That taps. I hit them for 4.
Sure.
That damage is done. My opponent's turn.
It's my turn. So, I'm kind of afraid of Cartel Aristocrat. So I say, destroy target creature with a sorcery spell.
However, with this ability, if I sacrifice another creature, Cartel Aristocrat gains protection from color of your choice until end of turn. So, I activate its ability, sacrificing this to give protection.
It's pro-black, the spell fizzles.
Yeah, it's pro-black. So you say the protection is on top of Death's Caress, so it fizzles.
Now, if we want to get even more convoluted, we'll say it's my turn. I'm scared of Cartel Aristocrat. I kill it.
I say, but I'm going to give it protection. So I sacrifice this to give it protection.
And in response to that, since, here, I'm just going to use this as like part of the stack. The sacked creature is on the stack with this ability. I'm going to say, in response to you sacking a creature, I destroy it again.
So what this player is trying to do is before Cartel Aristocrat gains protection, it's trying to use this kill spell to kill it. However, in this case, I could still sacrifice my Lennon Snarecaster, which essentially makes this stack
pro-black, so that fizzles, that fizzles.
That fizzles, and then I have
your Cartel Aristocrat
with pro-black until end of turn.
Yep.
So when you're looking at activated abilities that can be activated multiple times, that's something you have to be aware of, because that person can use that multiple times on the stack.
So if you're trying to use 2 kill spells like I was, you might want to make sure that they don't have 2 creatures to use for this particular card to sack 2.
Yeah. Generally, for a lot of, like, it's generally unwise to try and just straight up kill stuff with activated abilities.
Unless, as in this case, like if this was by itself, fine.
Well, yeah, because then there's nothing to sack.
Yeah.
So, it's something to be aware of. Learn the stack. Practice the stack.
Fuck the stack.
Fuck the stack.
Make it your bitch.
Make it your bitch.
End the video.
End
Goodbye.
the video.